Welcome to the FNO InsurTech podcast, a place where movers and shakers from all points within the insurance ecosystem gather and discuss all things InsurTech. Here are your hosts, Lloyd and Rob Beller.
Hey, podcast world, welcome to another exciting, interesting, and yes, we have a surprise for you today on FNO InsurTech. I am Rob Beller. I am one of your co-hosts. I'm introducing myself today because you're going to see we have a big surprise, don't we, Lee?
We do, but I think we determined that you're host and I'm host. We dropped a while back. We're just host.
That's right. Yeah, we'll get back to that issue in a minute.
Okay.
But that's Lee Boyd, who's also a host here.
That's right.
Host is like the top of the food chain, right?
It's right there. It's the top of the
least
amount of work.
Chain.
Yeah, least amount of work.
You don't get more food chain than host.
Yeah, that's the one.
And that's kind of our surprise today. After 7 years?
Yeah.
We're in our seventh year of doing this crazy podcast, over 300 episodes, of which we are, I don't know if we're proud or ashamed, maybe both.
We're proud.
Okay, we're proud out loud. And anyways, after that length of time, we have invited somebody to join our little club.
Little circle of trust.
Our little podcast circle of trust right here, ladies and gentlemen. We've invited somebody new to join us. And I guess he joins us as a co-host though, right?
Yeah, we're host. He's co-host.
Exactly. Thank you. I'm glad we're clarifying this on the air.
That's right. On the air. We will always remember this.
So David Prejeant, did I say that right, David?
Yep, absolutely.
Give it to us. Give it to the audience so they know it properly.
Yeah.
Prejeant. South Louisiana, just outside of New Orleans, born and raised in the thick of the humidity. David Prejeant.
Well, which I've called him Prejeant for like 4 years.
Well,
I don't correct anyone.
I'm not even going to go into what I've called him. But anyways, we're so impressed with David.
Yes.
That we said, you know what? Maybe this is how we get out of doing this thing. Once and for all.
We got to get him on. We got to lure him in. I'm sorry, we can't be on that podcast, David.
We lure him in and we give him the honor of being a co-host.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It's like breadcrumbs. You're just I just got to follow the trail and hopefully
follow the trail.
If I'm dedicated and persistent and all the things that one needs to be to reach host status, perhaps.
Well, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
What we do is not easy. People think they can do this. They think they can just show up, sit down and talk. But it's not that easy.
It's not.
No, I mean, like sometimes we have to get ourselves a glass of water before we do that. And you think that's
sometimes
easy? No.
I have to have a cup of coffee.
Sometimes.
And that's a little time. You to time it where it's still warm and you're not late. That's difficult.
But listen, David, let us ask you a couple of questions so our audience knows how legit you are.
Oh, okay. Let's do that.
So, tell us what your title is and what you do and where you work.
I have the pleasure of working at Alacrity Solutions. I am the Vice President of Client Relations there. That is a new moniker that I have recently decided to, been graced with the ability to adorn. So I am really excited about the opportunity and excited about the potential for this role. Is that the right? That's the right answer, right? I mean, politically, that's right.
Yeah, I thought that
was really good. So, but you're a longtime claims veteran, yes?
Yes, I've been in the claims world for a little over, terrifyingly to say, over 20 years now.
So David brings experience, know-how. He's led teams. He's managed teams. He's been out in the field himself, and touched on a bunch of other things. And as we go through this, we're not going to tell you too much about David because we don't want to overload you. But there's a lot there. So as we go over a few episodes, we'll let you know, like, about his TED Talk, maybe, for example, and other things.
TED Talk, his history of the stage, perhaps.
I mean, there's a lot there, folks. So we hope you all join us in welcoming him to our team as co-host, which means that we don't have to get our coffee anymore. It's brought to us by our co-hosts.
That's true.
I'll get it door dashed over to you guys. You just got to give me your addresses if you feel comfortable. If you think that's a good idea. I don't know that I would share my address with you, but if you want to give me yours.
And I'm also going to give you the name of our favorite Thai food place.
There you go.
You can make that happen too. But anyways, all that said, welcome, David. We're thrilled to have you for the first time ever now.
Thank you.
Not one, not two, but three knuckleheads bringing you FNO InsurTech every other week for your insurance and insurance technology pleasure.
Listening pleasure.
And speaking of which, David, we gave David the opportunity to drive
a test.
We gave him a test drive.
Yeah.
We have today Josh Frossell, who's the CEO and founder at Senen, and he's come on to tell us about his claim-oriented InsurTech that is offshore. It's over in the UK, and he's been making a lot of noise and winning a lot of InsurTech contests. And impressing a lot of people out there. And we thought this is a great way for David to jump in. What do you think? Did you like that, David?
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting guy. Josh gave us some of his time. He was very gracious with it. And it's always fun to learn about systems and technology and especially anything that, for me, I always enjoy talking to people from the UK. They're extremely polite and well-mannered. And so it's always a treat to get to speak with our friends over in the UK.
Yes. And one of the interesting things here is, for me, is that Josh is an insurance guy, smart, strategy background, who's founded an InsurTech, not the other way around. And
stepped out of the underwriting world and into the InsurTech world. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
You just ruined the ending.
Yeah, you're supposed to say spoiler alert before you spoil it.
I always mess that up. I'm going to write that down.
There's a sequence. Look, folks, we didn't say that he's experienced.
Right.
Okay. We just said that he's
all I know is I couldn't be on this one. So I'm going to listen to this one with a judgeful ear, and I'll be able to see how it goes at the end to see if David passes test drive.
Oh, well, okay. Well, there's only one way to do that, and that's for us to shut up.
Stop jibber jabbering.
No more jibber jabber. And let's get to our interview with Josh Frossell, CEO and founder at Senen. Welcome to the team, David.
Thanks.
Hey, everybody. We are here with our guest today, coming to us all the way from another country than where David and I are. We are in the US of A, and our guest, Josh Frossell, CEO and founder of Senen, is where? Where are you, Josh?
Hi, Rob. Hi, David. Yeah, good to meet you both. So I'm speaking to you from London in England.
Oh, wow. So, okay. What time is it there?
So here it is 8:30 in the evening. Yeah.
Well, it's good to know that we are such a powerful media presence that you're willing to do this at after hours. Thank you very much for doing that.
It's a pleasure to be on.
So let's talk about Senen. You're the founder and CEO. Tell us what it is that Senen does and a little bit about the company.
Sure. So Senen's a claims management software business. We work with brokers, MGAs, TPAs, and insurers and help them improve the operational efficiency of handling claims. So there's still a lot of manual processing of data throughout the claims handling process, particularly within commercial insurance. And we seek to augment or automate aspects of the process. And we're also building predictive models in order to support decision-making. So helping insurers improve decision-making around litigation, subrogation, helping them forecast likely ultimate settlement values in order to help them improve the accuracy of their case reserving.
And one of the unique things about your business is you get involved right at the beginning, correct?
Yeah. So we'll deal with the claim from FNOL all the way through to settlement.
And we talk a lot about AI on our podcast now. I assume from the information that we know about you, you are an AI native organization. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. So we use large language models, small language models, machine learning models throughout the process.
Awesome.
Okay.
People throw around that word a lot, that AI native. What does that mean? What does that mean for you? What does that mean in the market these days? Tell me, for somebody that if I were to open the hood of my car, I'd be real confused. So open the hood on AI for me a little bit and walk me through what does it mean for it to be native AI?
Good. That's a really good question. I guess the way that we see it is it's just another tool in the toolbox that allows us to do things more efficiently. We use it in a structured manner, so we don't just let it loose. But we've inserted it into points in the process in a really controlled manner, and we use it to inform a claims handler of next action. We use it to prevent information to the handler, but we could be a draft response to a customer or a draft notification to an insurer, but always keeping the handler in the loop.
When you first got into this process, what was the main place that you were finding a big pain point that you said, hey, we can fix that first. We can improve that first?
Good question. So I spend a lot of time speaking with chief claims officers, heads of claims operations, and claims handlers, and understanding what pain points they encountered on a day-to-day basis. And I think they fell into two categories. So process inefficiencies and people just getting stuck doing manual tasks that took up a lot of their time and prevented them from doing some of the deeper thinking. And then also speaking to chief claims officers and understanding what kept them up at night. The US market probably has a greater prevalence of nasty claims that, if an insurer denies coverage on, then they can be liable to a pretty hefty lawsuit against them for acting in bad faith. And I guess, a combination of both of those two problem statements, initially drawn towards solving the operational efficiency problems. That's some low-hanging fruit that's easier to resolve. The ambition of solving some of those bigger problems that the industry faces.
You have an underwriting background. What brought you across the aisle or over the fence to the claims side?
Yeah, thanks, Rob. So I started my career in underwriting, in political risk and trade, credit underwriting. I then transitioned into strategy and operations roles in-house at Allianz and Lloyd's, and then in consulting. And when I was working in consulting, at Accenture, was involved in a post-merger integration project and ended up leading the claims work stream for that. And got to understand a bit more about how the function works in depth. And that sort of set me up and helped me develop an understanding of things.
That sounds like I've lived in the claims world for a long time from an operations standpoint. And I often wonder, am I on the wrong side of this? Should I be in the underwriting world? So you came the other way. You came from underwriting into claims.
Yeah.
What does that feel like? Stepping out of that underwriting comfort zone and sort of into the wild world of U.S. claims, especially. What's that? Walk me through that process of making that decision and coming to that place.
Yeah, I guess I love problem solving and creating value, and it just felt as if claims was a part of insurers and brokers' operating models that was underserved by technology and innovation, and it felt like that was an area that I could really create value.
You guys have kind of made a splash. You won a big contest, I guess, the Generali Challenge Lab at ITC 2026. What rose you guys to the top? I mean, these are all great, innovative new companies that are coming forward. Tell us about that.
Thanks, Rob. I don't know if there was anything particular that rose us to the top. The competition was pretty strong. So we just talked about what we were doing in order to improve the claims handling journey, how that was improving or helping insurers and brokers operate more effectively, helping improve outcomes for them, but also the services and improvements that we're hoping to offer to customers as well. So if you look at claims that are settled within the London market, typically London market claims take on average 400 days to settle. If you're a small business owner, that's a lot of time dealing with ambiguity. And if we can help speed up that settlement process, then we're benefiting customers. Equally, there's a broader trend in the market where claims teams are looking to incorporate risk prevention services. And so rather than just being there after there's been a loss, actually leveraging the data that's available to claims teams, looking for trends and patterns within that data. So, for example, understanding that buildings with flat roofs are more susceptible to storm damage caused by wind, providing that feedback to customers, helping them reduce their risk profile and ultimately, reducing their vulnerability.
One of the interesting things to me about you is that you're not a technology professional.
Yeah.
You're an insurance professional, right?
Yeah.
Was it hard or intimidating to start a tech company basically as an insurance guy? I mean, I think it took some courage and some guts to do that.
Thanks, Rob. It's been a learning experience. Yeah, I've learned a lot over the last 12 months, and I mean, it was something that appealed to me. I remember when I was at Accenture, got involved in a couple of tech-related projects. Some were looking at applications of blockchain. Again, incidentally, within applications of blockchain to support claims handling. And as AI and LLMs emerged, it was just something that my curiosity got the better of me, and ended up just speaking to people that worked in that space, speaking to individuals that worked in data analytics teams, understanding how AI, or in essence, AI is just an evolution of a regression model that's been used within the pricing space, and how pricing teams have moved from using GLMs to using gradient boosting models, and the benefits that's delivered to pricing. And my imagination got the better of me, and I started to think of applications of that within claims. And I guess that curiosity drew me in, and I've learned about technology sort of through that direction.
You mentioned that you're sort of in this world now of claims and tech and moving into that world. And do you think that, when I get emails now, it's usually about one of two things. It's either got a headline about AI, or it's got a headline about avoiding nuclear verdicts in claims, right? Like those are the two headlines.
Yeah.
And so you'd mentioned that you're trying to improve those claims outcomes. Is that nuclear verdict buzzword something that you guys have sort of seen and are paying attention to? And if so, what does that look like for you?
I think the language around nuclear verdicts is definitely more prevalent in the US, less so in the UK, but there's definitely a growing trend and growing awareness of threats of large settlements over here. Yeah, definitely something that's on the radar.
We understand your tagline is revolutionizing insurance claim technology with industry's pioneers. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Can you explain that to us?
What that embodies is how we're looking to use emerging technologies in order to innovate, and we're doing that with organizations that have the appetite to change and experiment.
Such as in and around the Lloyd's universe?
Yeah, exactly. Within the Lloyd ecosystem. And it's interesting. There's different organizations that have different appetites to work on things at a different pace, and some organizations have a really strong interest in experimenting and trying different things and piloting solutions. And those are the organizations that we're keen to work with.
So, Josh, on those pilot programs, how are you guys being received, like in the market? Are you getting great feedback? I'm thinking you guys are probably getting a bunch of great feedback. What does it look like? And maybe if there was something that initially you didn't expect to hear, that you went, oh, okay, we didn't think of that. Let's think about it now.
Yeah, good question, David. I mean, initially, so we developed our product, our solution, and we'll have conversations with customers about it. And I guess there's a fair amount of skepticism around what emerging technology can actually do. My sense is that there's a lot of organizations that overpromise, underdeliver, and what's really rewarding for me is when we do demo a solution to customers and they say, oh, you can actually do that. You can actually sort of pick out a condition within a policy wording and flag that condition's not been met, or that condition's not fulfilled by documentation that's within the policy or the document management system at the moment. Flag that as something to go back to the customer and check with, whether that's an inspection report or another warranty that could have been breached. And it's great getting that feedback from customers who actually do see real value in the solution.
Very cool. So does the system integrate with, the client system or the carrier system? Does it exist independently? How do all those, people start talking tech with me, they start data hooks and APIs and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I get turned around. How does that work from you guys' standpoint? What does that look like?
Yeah, we've built a microservices infrastructure leveraging APIs. We build the product in a modular fashion. So if someone just wants the FNOL solution or the triage solution, they can adopt that. But if they want the end-to-end workflow, that's something that we can work with as well. And we're happy to work with existing infrastructure too. Yeah,
I'm always really interested, as somebody who spent a lot of time selling products into carriers mostly, in the kind of reception that you get. It must be very helpful that, first of all, you fluently speak insurance, right?
Thanks.
That must be very helpful. So that you're an insurance professional talking to an insurance professional. Am I right to think that often you'll attend these meetings to speak about your product and what it can do and its implications for the insurance process, for the claims process? I'm interested in how do you work through that? These organizations that are by their nature risk averse, how do you get over that hump, and particularly in a crowded space that's increasingly crowded with many solutions?
Good question, Rob. I think, I've got a background in consulting, and so I've got a bias towards speaking to customers about trends that are going on in the industry, issues that they're facing, issues that other organizations are facing. And so I'll often lead with those types of conversations before then pivoting to talk about what Senen can do. And I guess, as I mentioned earlier, I love problem solving and creating value. And we built a solution in order to actually address some of the needs that organizations are facing, rather than sort of backwards fitting an industry agnostic solution to a claims workflow or to an underwriting workflow or to a regulatory workflow.
Circling back to the ITC initiative and the fact that you guys did so well with that, was there anything else that you guys were able to kind of springboard off of that momentum into any other partnerships, or you have anything else interesting going on that front that was a result of that attention that you guys got there?
Yeah, I mean, the ITC Generali Challenge Lab win was great for us. There's some great publicity around that emerged after that. And I guess another win that we managed to secure at a similar time was acceptance onto the Microsoft for Startups program. Yeah, so really, really happy to be to have access to that ecosystem and some of the models available to us through that bit of work.
Are you guys pursuing additional partnerships through that? Tell me a little bit about how that Microsoft for Startups work, and maybe give us a peek behind the curtain. What do you guys have going on over there?
Yeah, so I mean, being part of the Microsoft for Startups program's brilliant. We get access to various different Azure services. So Azure hosting, some of the OpenAI models, and then also have access to some engineering resource within Microsoft. So yeah, they can provide us feedback on our solution architecture and some of the things that we designed and built, and then they also help us with some go-to-market strategy and planning.
Wow, that sounds like a real win for you guys.
Yeah. It's great to be part of that program.
What are you hearing in the market as you go about the appetite for AI, about the outlook towards AI? I'm sure you're getting a lot of feedback there, maybe even some hesitation. Tell us about the reception you're getting about AI in those conversations.
It's interesting. So I think it differs at different levels of an organization. I think there's a lot of board level appetite for companies to deploy and use AI and explore use cases that could deliver value for an organization. But then I guess when I talk to operational teams, that they just care about the outcome. Yeah, exactly. So we spent a lot of the last year having conversations with chief claims officers, heads of claims handlers, understanding their pain points, understanding their processes, understanding what would actually deliver value for them. And following those conversations, have built a solution that addresses those needs. They're less focused on, what the underlying technology is, and more concerned around, how can this improve their job? What outcomes can it deliver for them? Like, what tasks can it take away so they can focus on having conversations with customers, speaking with underwriting teams, speaking with actuaries, and that's what they're most excited about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they want to know what do I get out of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Not how you make it, but what's it taste like at the end?
Yeah.
It seems like with AI, a lot of times we're in this "what have you done for me lately" point with it. So like, what has AI done for me lately? So when you're having those conversations with head of claims and claims officers, do you find that, like, you mentioned that there's maybe a gap between what the top wants and what the adjuster wants? How do you bridge that gap between getting the guys at the top with the checkbook happy and also getting a product at the claims level that really does something?
So how do we align interests across an organization? So we've joined a number of workshops with claims teams where we've mapped out the process steps that they go through when handling a claim. understanding from them firsthand what they find frustrating. So if we're speaking to an insurance broker, do they have to log into an insurer's portal and manually fill out a number of different fields in order to register a notification? Then we'll take that away, look at what we can build to resolve that issue, and map those use cases back to understand sort of how that delivers value at an organization level and how that aligns to the objectives at a higher level.
Good.
Absolutely.
We have certainly enjoyed hearing about Senen. We love when we can connect with London, because for us in the States, London is such an interesting, world. And it's a big and important world, and that matters a lot and is very consequential to us in the United States. And so to hear about what you're doing and how it's going over there is always interesting, and where you're taking Senen. I think you have a bright future.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rob.
Sure. And thanks for staying up late so that you could do this. We do appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure chatting to both of you. Thanks both for your time.
Totally. Once again, I really enjoy listening to somebody who is an insurance guy, sees the importance of technology, goes out on his own, not a co-founder, a founder.
Risks it all, life and limb.
Risks it all, and puts it on the line to start an InsurTech. Very, very interesting.
Josh did a great job letting us know about what he does and how he does it. We love getting the opportunity to speak with the InsurTech community, as always. And thank you, Rob, for allowing me the opportunity on a trial basis to maybe possibly co-host in perpetuity. I don't know, maybe. We're just throwing that word out there. That's a big word.
Yeah. I went through perpetuity in my teens. So that was a long time ago. Oh my. Anyways,
I slept through most of my perpetuity.
So we're gonna get a label on this podcast. There's gonna be a label on it. Adult content. Anyways, how can it be adult content? You go through it when you're a kid.
Maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need to spice it up.
There you go. So anyway, we're thrilled to have doing this for volunteering. And don't worry, we'll get to the point where you regret it. Just give us a little time.
I'm already moving in that direction.
Perfect. Okay. And so until next time.
Thanks, guys.